This is Elizabeth. And this is Mark. In 2014, we built this inn in the heart of Oregon wine country, within close proximity to hundreds of amazing wineries. Our goal is to ensure our guests have the best possible wine country food experiences, and we want to show you how we do that.
Today we are making our overnight artisan bread loaf. It's made with half whole wheat flour and is a very versatile bread. We use it for toast and for our breakfast sandwiches and our stuffed French toast. This recipe makes 2 loaves. They freeze very well, so you can save a loaf for later. If you only want 1 loaf, you can also cut the recipe in half. Start the day before you want to make the bread. Measure 400 grams of warm water and pour a tablespoon or 2 into a small cup. Add 1/8 teaspoon of instant yeast. Then pour the rest of the water into a large bowl with 500 grams of bread flour. Mix it thoroughly and then cover it and let it rest for 5 minutes. Come back and add the yeast to the flour, and with clean hands begin mixing the dough. Use a pinching motion with your thumb and forefinger to pinch the dough and cut through it. Mix it thoroughly until it feels smooth, then cover it and let it rest overnight for 11 to 16 hours. Begin the next day about 4.5 hours before you want to finish baking. Measure 500 grams of whole wheat pastry flour, 22 grams of salt, 3/4 teaspoon of instant yeast, and 400 grams of warm water into a mixing bowl. Using clean hands, mix the dough with the same pinching technique that you used the night before. Once this dough is thoroughly mixed, combine it with the biga from the night before. By this time, the biga should be very bubbly and expanded. Mix the 2 doughs together using that same pinching motion. This could take several minutes until you have a smooth, homogeneous dough. Towards the end of the process, begin lifting the dough from the bottom of the bowl up to the top, turning the bowl to create a smooth ball of dough in the middle of your bowl. Then cover it and let it rest for 15 minutes. Now start the folding process. Lift the dough from the bottom of the bowl way up high and fold it over the top. Turn the bowl about a 1/4 turn and continue lifting and folding. Turn the bowl around about 2 times, lifting and folding as you go, and then cover it again and let the dough rest for 15 minutes. You'll repeat this process 3 times for a total of 4 folds. Then let the dough rise for 1.5 hours. Now place a piece of stone in the center or bottom third of the oven and put a shallow roasting pan in the bottom of the oven. This pan will hold water to create steam while the loaf bakes. Preheat the oven to 500 degrees Fahrenheit, convection if possible. Now it is time to shape the loaves. Sprinkle a little flour on top of your dough and cut the dough into 2 equal pieces. Sprinkle some flour on your work surface and move one of the pieces to the work surface. Shape it into a loaf that is about 12 inches long and 4 inches wide. Pull the edges of the loaf together and pinch them at the bottom of the loaf. You want a nice taut surface along the top of the loaf. We're going to shape one first and then wait 20 to 30 minutes before shaping the second one. That way you can bake the 2 loaves in succession, one after the other. When your loaf is shaped, move it to a piece of parchment paper and then cover it and let it rise for a total of 40 to 60 minutes. Once the bread has risen, brush it with some water all over. This will help create a nice crispy crust. Then cut some slits in the top to help the bread rise. You can use scissors or a knife to cut the slits. Slide the parchment paper with the bread on top onto a pizza peel and transfer it to the pizza stone in the oven. Pour a cup or 2 of boiling water into the roasting pan at the bottom of the oven to create steam. Bake the bread for 10 minutes uncovered, then loosely cover with foil and bake for 10 more minutes. Then remove from the oven to cool on a wire rack for at least an hour. Bake the second loaf the same way. You now have a beautiful loaf to enjoy for toast or sandwiches.
check out the full recipe at the links below. Enjoy the craft of bread making, and like or subscribe to us. Better yet, visit us in person for a memorable food experience in Oregon wine country.